Hi folks, today I want to talk with you about critical thinking, which is one of the important processes that you'll be practicing a lot in HDFS 201. First, the main question is, how do you define it? And the truth is there are many, many, many definitions of critical thinking. Just to take a look at a few of them, here in Wikipedia, I love this one. The process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information to reach an answer or conclusion. Phew, almost ran out of breath. I do like that one, but it's a little wordy and complicated. However, if you look at it closely, you'll see it includes some of the concepts from Bloom's taxonomy that we discussed earlier: applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating. Many of your weekly wonders will focus on this applying and analyzing piece. But here are some others that sound a little simpler and more direct. Disciplined thinking that is clear, rational, open-minded, and informed by evidence. I like that one. And reasonable reflective thinking, focused on deciding what to believe or do. Again, I like that one. And thinking about what you're going to believe actually is a part of what you'll be doing in HDFS 201 as you're exposed to lots and lots of information. Okay, so let's go back here, and I do like also this image: investigate, reason, analyze, and review. So how are we going to define it for this class, for HDFS 201? By now, perhaps you've seen this article. It was in the Other Cool Course Stuff tab in your Moodle shell. And it's also in your weekly Lesson 2 book, which you should have seen it there by now. So you have the online electronic version. I want to emphasize 3 points from this article, and these are the 3 that I'm going to sort of really look for in your papers and remind you about a lot. The first is the ability to think empirically, not theoretically. And what that means is that we all come in with a view, but what we're going to do in this class is check our views against evidence from the real world, and also be willing to change our position or change our view if we get evidence that gives us another perspective. And here they give an example of a scientist who was willing to change his view. And scientists are some of the best people at this, actually. So those of us in social science could stand to work on this. Point number 2 from the article: the ability to think in terms of multiple rather than single causes. And one of the reasons I chose this article is actually this example that he gives here. Some of the most interesting things that happen have multiple causes. It's very rare that you can point to something complicated and beautiful and say that it only has one cause. And the example they give here is educational success. So if you'll just think about yourself for a minute and how you're doing with your education, and think about these things: your aptitude, the achievements educationally of your parents, the quality of the school, what are the attitudes and intelligence of other students in the school. Clearly, one that I think that's not mentioned here is financial resources can contribute to your educational success. You can probably think of some other aspects that contribute. But the point of this is, we're not going to answer many questions in this class with just a single cause or a single reason, because most of the things we're going to talk about are complicated. And part of your critical thinking will be to look at those complexities. Now, point number 5, yes, number 5, I'm skipping over 3 and 4, which you can certainly pay attention to if you wish, but for this 10-week term, I'm going to be focusing on 1, 2, and 5 with you. And we've already talked about this one a little bit. This is the one about understanding your own bias. This can really contribute to poor decision making, and especially when we only look for material that supports our own opinion or our own bias. Again, you had a great example of that from Cherlin in the first chapter of your book, and I've pointed you to that once already. So, in closing, basically in this class, you're going to be practicing critical thinking. For some of you, this is the first time the idea has been introduced to you. For some of you, you've already practiced critical thinking. And a few of you are probably masters of critical thinking. Regardless, we're all going to be practicing it. I remind you of the idea of sharpening the saw, which is from Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And after he informs the first 6 habits, the 7th habit is to sharpen the saw. So even if you consider yourself a master of critical thinking, you can still practice it. I am still practicing it. We can all sharpen our saws. In closing, the 3 points I'll be emphasizing with you are using evidence to back up your view, understanding that anything that's complicated has multiple causes, and acknowledging your own biases. I certainly encourage you to use other aspects of critical thinking that you know how to do already. And if you look down at our Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy of learning that we've talked about earlier, remember, analyzing and applying is what you'll be doing in a lot of your weekly wonders. And then you'll be moving up into this synthesis, concluding aspect in your midterm project and your final project. And some of you may get up into the evaluative and creative state, but that's not required for this course. But I challenge you to keep improving your critical thinking skills.